Hello and welcome. Today we are racing the Ferrari F40 LM at Silverstone. I was asked to give this endurance race a try, so I did just that. Now, first things first, this is located in the exclusive series, Tier 13, which means you're going to have to fully upgrade to have access to it. That's going to cost you just over 2.2 million R dollars and 1,153 gold. And here you can see the rewards that the exclusive series can bring you. Actually, pretty good rewards, like 200 gold. Wow. You are going to have to take cuts to do this race. That's just the way it is. This is about earning currency. So to do that, you must have all of your assists off, because if you're trying to do this with steering assist on, forget about it. It's going to fight you like crazy. Also, you might have seen me skidding a little bit here and there. Traction control is going to be kicking in. And then brakes are just going to be horrible everywhere. Brakes are a major speed killer. And this is my second time trying this. And for a lot of this race, I wasn't getting Cop's Corner, what we just came through there. I wasn't getting it very good. And you got to watch this whole Maggots, Beckett's Complex, Chapel Curve section. You definitely have to have at least 2 braking points. Sometimes I'm doing 3. And then we're heading into Stowe, and you really have to watch your braking point at Stowe. If you brake too late, you're going to go substantially off track and waste all sorts of time, which I'm probably going to end up doing once or twice. We'll see. That was okay. Now, the last chicane, 2 ways to take this cut. You'll notice me taking the more aggressive one like this, which is definitely giving up more distance, but I'm saving time. And I'll start taking the shorter version of that later, which will earn me a little more currency, and maybe it is the better route. I haven't quite decided yet. So this is the first cut here. You got to slow down quite a lot. You really got to watch with traffic when you're connecting into traffic again here, merging. That's really tricky. Now let's talk about controls. This is what I use. Tilt B and sensitivity to. Watch closely. Okay, right there I started losing traction. It happened so fast you might not have even seen it. I lifted off the throttle for just a microsecond. My back end corrected, and then I got back on the throttle. If you're using Tilt A or anything with automatic accelerator, you can't do that. It's just going to keep skidding. When you start sliding, if you nail the brakes, you're still going to keep sliding for a bit. Tilt B will allow you to regain traction quicker than Tilt A, but don't get me wrong, I know a lot of good endurance racers who use Tilt A. If it works for you, that's great. It doesn't work for me. I find I have more control with Tilt B, and I would say if you're still learning how to do some of these things, you should probably try to use Tilt B. It's actually pretty cool. Now there I was braking too late, so I'm giving up some time, which means I am lowering my fame per minute. So fame per minute, that's the most important number when we're discussing endurance racing, is how much fame per minute am I getting. It doesn't really matter what it pays per lap, because, well, I mean, that is a small factor. Let's talk Porsche short track for a minute here. So the highest amount of earnings you can earn at Porsche short track is 600 fame per lap. And there's a few cars that will pay that much, and they vary in how fast they are. So for instance, the Ferrari FXXK, Koenigsegg Agera, what is it, RS, I kind of forget. I could look it up, but I'm busy, I'm doing this. And also one of the Bugattis has access to that. And it's interesting because they're quite different, those cars. The Ferrari FXXK would certainly be the slowest. And but they have different factors on them. Like the Bugatti is going to have the worst brakes of the batch, but you got to learn to work with it. And I know the Koenigsegg, I can actually earn a little more fame per minute in that one, and maybe even more in the Bugatti. I don't think I ever fully upgraded the one that I need for that. So, and I don't really use those ones. My main farming spot is actually at Le Mans in the McLaren MP4X. Fame per minute there is crazy. Now, the fellow who asked me about this was using the Audi R8 LMS Ultra at Porsche short track, so we'll use that as a comparison later on in this video, just to see which one of these is more beneficial. Now, if you're looking for a race to do and you don't own the Audi or this particular Ferrari, I would say in a microsecond, Audi, it is substantially cheaper to buy and fully upgrade that Audi. Only 99 gold. Ooh boy, I was checking my rear view just to see where that guy was, and it really threw me off because he was, well, right there. And I gotta talk about merging there. This is really tricky, maintaining control through that section, that takes a lot of, it takes some trial and error. Learning how to drive cars off track is a separate skill unto itself. I would say you need to learn that. Now, people are going to say, well, that's just crazy. We're trying to race. Why would we learn how to drive off track? Well, because there's been many special events where they actually required us to drive off track for a bit. So if you haven't learned how the cars handle off track, you're going to be at a disadvantage. The cars kind of have this strange pulsating turning effect. So every once in a while, you can pretty well time it, it'll pull at your steering. So if you hold a steady arc, it will allow you to steer in intervals. If you try to steer too aggressively, you will slide. If you're sliding, you're losing a lot of time. You're going to notice here, I hit the perpetual point right away. It's not hard in this race. Like, my timer is really not suffering. Perpetual point is the point of the race where you could go forever if you want to or you have the skills. To reach the perpetual point, you must pass 42 cars. If you do not do that quick enough, you will never, ever see it, because the cars get progressively harder. See, now, this is the perpetual point. See how they're suddenly close together again? All of these cars will be faster than a fully upgraded car. However, they're driven by bots who take corners horribly. So why is taking off-track cuts necessary? Because you need to pass those 42 cars as fast as possible. If it was possible to do this without cutting, you'd already know that because you would have already done it. But as you know, eventually the cars get too spaced out and you just run out of time. So we got to do fast back-to-back lap times. There's a moment where I blew Cop's corner. Anyhow, you need fast lap times back-to-back, and that's what can really get you to this point. So this is Beckett's Complex, Chapel Curve here. You really want to power out of Chapel Curve and don't go off track there. I did for just a fraction of a second, not a big deal. Still losing a bit of momentum down to Stowe here. But you don't want to wreck the exit of a corner before a long speed run. Oh, that was a horrible setup to Stowe. My first test at this track, I really messed it up. Like, I was flying off of Stowe 3 or 4 times. Took me a while to nail Cop's corner, and I still got 695 frame per minute, which is pretty good. So this time I'm a little bit cleaner, and we'll see if I earn that much more. It's still good to know. Okay, merging into traffic here. So you got to pay really careful attention. So I don't mind going in right there because I'm getting right in behind that guy, and then I want to go to the far right. I checked my rear view, no one was there, so who cares? You want to be far left or far right. When I say far right, I'm talking only your left side's on the track by a tiny bit. Far left doesn't really matter. You don't have to be that far left because the cars are driving on the right. It's tricky though. Now, you're going to watch what happens here. If I take Cops properly this time around, should be on the brakes now. Come on, man. That's sloppy. That's not going to work. That's okay. Then coming into Maggots here, if I'm careful, I should be able to actually gain on this guy because the bots suck. Oh, not only am I gaining, I'm overtaking him. Oh, that's a surprise. Now, that threw me off a little bit. I actually drove it a bit too deep into the corner to get that overtake. You don't really expect to catch bots there too often. Like in the Formula 1 cars, you got to be really on your game there to catch up to bots through that section. But you can, because they overbrake because they're bots. So that's where you make your gains. Now soon here, like, you're gonna notice, like right there, I passed 2 cars. Did I get 3? Oh, I did. You got to be so careful because when you pass a car now, if it passes you back, it's still taking 5 seconds to disappear, but it's usually slowing down. Not always, but usually. All right, now let's talk about, again, watch. Oh, now I'm going to be very careful and stay far left. I don't know. There you go. That I would have been nailed. Okay, let's talk about this cut right here. In a Formula 1 car, I would take it later. I would drive to the right of that barrier that I'm driving by. There's actually a guy in that barrier. I would drive to the right of it in the Formula 1 cars, but they've got better traction. So that allows me to stay on track longer and also to carry more speed. But with this car, the traction is not as good. So, oh great, I blew Cop's corner again. Giving up time, man. Probably lost at least a second there. Oh well. Okay, so watch that, heavy braking there. I'm gonna have to brake again here, and then power out right there. Come on, let's go, baby, go. That's pretty good. Again, we're watching anytime that distance marker turns red, I am not earning anything. And so I give that up by choice. Like, obviously when I'm taking cuts, I'm choosing to give that up. Now, pretty soon I'm going to start taking the other cut. So I'm going to take the other cut here. Way less off track, but you got to watch how you merge right here, and you got to watch because they're going to brake. Oh, he didn't brake as much as I was expecting him to. At corner 1, though, he's definitely going to be heavier on the brakes. I'll go under him. Side contact like that is inconsequential unless you get it really heavy. And again, I'm going to watch how I merge into traffic here, watching this guy. Oh, I see a guy there. Oh, there you go. That's okay. In my first test of this, I was getting substantially rear-ended there a few times, which is actually hilarious because you get a big speed boost, but then you get T-boned and forget about it. You get a big T-bone and you just wasted all sorts of time. Not to mention, once you get damaged, you lose acceleration, top speed, brakes, and grip. All 4 things suffer. So you want to avoid damage as much as possible in this particular race. Now, we're only going to go to 50 kilometers. That's far enough. And to get a reasonable frame per minute numbers, I'll do a little freeze frame, and that's where I'll call the end of the race as far as my time calculation is concerned. And then I'll end it. I'll go back and end it right at 50 kilometers so we get accurate fame and accurate R dollars. So the only lap that isn't really good for my calculations, I blew stow again. Good grief, man. The very first lap where I have to get up to speed, I'm obviously not getting as good average there, but going 50 kilometers is enough. I'd probably get a little bit better data if I went to 100 kilometers, but then this video gets way too long. So it's just going to be in the next lap here. In the 10th lap, I'm pretty sure in the 10th lap I'll be ending it. Yeah, that would make sense. So again, being careful here. This car doesn't like going this cut very much, and where I am, oh my goodness! I had a feeling someone was right near me. That's why I was staying to the very far left at that corner. Oh man, if I was any further to the right, he would have nailed me. And it might have been funny, I might have had a speed boost, or if he was hitting me on my far right, he might have made me go off track. So it's not worth it. You want to be on the brakes pretty shortly after you go under that barricade, like that. That's pretty good. Yeah, that was a good one right there. And heading into maggots here. Beck's complex. Don't want to be sliding around much. Like, that's a bit too much. Get on that throttle, baby. Oh, sliding around too much. I would have gained on him better if I handled it better. That was, it was okay. If you did that consistently, you'd be doing okay. So let's see, if I compare this to Porsche short track, I'd say this is more difficult. You've got a lot more corners to contend with, a lot more areas to slide around and mess up. But it is more fun because you're getting more speed. Porsche short track, you're on the brakes quite a lot. So I guess I'll just say that both are really good options. We'll take a look at the final profitability. Even my very first test run of this, my fame per minute was higher than the Audi R8 LMS Ultra. But again, substantial cost difference. Okay, so now I'm getting really close to that 50 kilometers. You know what, it would have been better if I went straight, but I'm trying to give you average fame per minute numbers based on driving every lap the same. So that's why I didn't skip the cut there. So very quickly, we'll do a very brief freeze frame. I'll flash the 50 kilometers at the screen, and you'll be able to see, like right here, 50 kilometers. Okay, so now we're going 2 times regular speed, and I'll do get some donuts going here to burn down my clock. This is going to take too long. Let's go 4 times regular speed. That's still going to take too long. Let's go 16 times regular speed. Ugh, gosh, gonna puke, but that's it, it's over. Okay, so race time is 13 minutes, 24 and a half seconds, or 804.5 seconds. That's from green light to the 50 kilometer mark. So, taking a quick look, fame per minute will pop up, 9,400 fame. That works out to 701 fame per minute. So let's do some comparisons. Audi R8 LMS Ultra, 683 fame per minute. Porsche 918 RSR, 696. Ferrari FXXK, quite a lot more. And then look at that McLaren, holy smokes. So, this is a good option. Please like, please subscribe. Bye-bye.